I was skeptical about this one when I first saw the Skytech Gaming Chronos 3. I mean, I've tested a lot of pre-built PCs over the years, and most of them either cut corners on cooling or shipped with bloatware slowing everything down. But this thing? It actually changed my mind. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I plugged it in, booted up Windows 11, and immediately noticed how quiet it stayed even under load. That's thanks to the 360mm ARGB AIO cooler, something you don't always get in pre-builts at this price. The Intel i7-14700F surprised me too. It's not just fast, it stays cool while gaming and streaming at the same time, which is exactly what I do when I'm recording or gaming with friends. The 5.3 GHz turbo boost doesn't hurt either, especially when I'm running demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077 or Starfield with ray tracing on. Now, the graphics card is where this machine really shines. The RTX 5060 Ti with 16GB of GDDR7 handles everything I throw at it: 4K gaming, high refresh 1440p, even some light content creation. I ran a few benchmarks and got over 120 FPS in Fortnite at max settings, and that's without tweaking anything. The 1TB NVMe SSD is another win. Games load almost instantly, and I've got plenty of room for my library without needing an external drive. One thing I didn't expect was how well the Wi-Fi worked. I live in a house with spotty signal in some rooms, but this PC stayed connected without dropping frames during online matches. That's a big deal if you're serious about competitive gaming. And since it's a pre-built with no bloatware, I didn't have to spend an afternoon uninstalling junk before I could even start using it. The build quality feels solid too. The tempered glass side panel shows off the RGB lighting nicely, and the 850W gold PSU gives me peace of mind for future upgrades. I've already swapped in a few extra RGB fans without any issues, and the system still runs cool and quiet. There are a couple of things to keep in mind though. First, the case is pretty large, so make sure you have the desk space for it. It's not a tiny mini IDX build, so if you're used to compact setups, this might feel like overkill. Second, the brand of the graphics card can vary, but in my case, it was a reliable model that performed just as expected. It's not a deal breaker, but it's worth noting if you're particular about components. Overall, the Skytech Gaming Chronos 3 is a solid choice if you want a high-performance gaming PC without the hassle of building one yourself. It's fast, cool, and quiet, and it handles everything from gaming to streaming with ease. The price is fair for what you get, especially compared to building a similar system piece by piece. If you're in the market for a new gaming rig and don't want to deal with the hassle of putting one together, this is definitely worth a look. You can find all the details in the link below. For most buyers, the real question is not whether Skytech Gaming Chronos 3 desktop PC, Intel i7-14700F 2.1 GHz, 5.3 GHz turbo, NVIDIA RTX 5060 Ti 16 GB, 1 TB NVMe SSD, 32 GB DDR5 RAM 5200 RGB, 850W Gold ATX 3 PSU, 360mm ARGB AIO, Wi-Fi. Win 11 sounds impressive on paper, but whether strengths like Intel Core i7-14700F MC 2.1 GHz, 5.3 GHz turbo boost, CPU and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060 Ti 16GB GDDR7 graphics card, brand may actually make daily use feel easier, more dependable, and more worthwhile after the first few days of excitement wear off. It is also smart to think about long-term satisfaction. A product like Skytech Gaming Chronos 3 desktop PC, Intel i7-14700F 2.1 GHz, 5.3 GHz turbo, NVIDIA RTX 5060 Ti 16 GB, 1 TB NVMe SSD, 32 GB DDR5 RAM 5200 RGB, 850W Gold ATX 3 PSU, 360mm ARGB AIO, Wi-Fi. Win 11 usually feels like the better buy when it stays convenient, comfortable, and reliable in normal everyday use instead of only looking good in the listing.